Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm Gamesplaining Cerebria. In the game of Cerebria, you are competing in teams. There are two teams. There is an expansion which has a third team. I'm not going to talk about that at all. There is also a solo variation and a co-op variation. Also, I'm not going to speak about them at all. I'm going to talk about the two teams. There are rules which reduce this game down to a 2 or 3 player game. I'm not going to talk about that. This game realistically is designed as a 4 player game. So I have set the game up as a 4 player game. The essence of this game is this is a brain. This is the internal workings of a person. You, as one of the players, are in control of one of these minis, which has the same as the picture. If you are playing with the other version, you'll probably have standees that match those pictures, and that's absolutely fine. The game is won and lost by a pile of these tokens that are built up in the center, or fragments that are joined into the identity of the person. So at the moment, there is a level 2 bliss token. So you're either bliss or you are gloom. So there's a level 2 bliss token joined into the identity of this individual. Things will keep getting added onto that, and I will talk to you how they get added on in a second, until you have no more tokens left. So either you have no more of these smaller tokens, the level 1 tokens, or you have no more of these level 2 tokens. As soon as you require one of those tokens out of your area and you don't have any left, you will add the topper. Once the topper has been added, that will be the end of the game, and you add up your score. The score is 3 points for any one of these that is in that central fortification, 5 points for any one of these double layered ones, and 4 points for the topper. The advanced game, there are spots during the game where you could get extra points. Those extra points are tracked on this wheel, and so that would also be added on to the points at the end of the game. The way those pieces get added in to the center fortification is there's 2 ways. Number 1, as part of your turn, you will have the option, once only during your turn, to absorb willpower or absorb ability. What that looks like is taking this marker and flipping it over to show that you've done that already as part of your turn, wherever it was sitting. You'll then look at where your guy is, and you will take things from where your guy is. So anyone who is here is able to take from either of those 2 spots. If it was here, it would only be able to take from that 1 spot. What you'll do is you will take, say we go with this one, you'll take 2 crystals for doing the actual ability, 1 more crystal if you have control over this line, or if you were here and you happen to have control over this spot, you would get a 2nd crystal as well. So there's 2 possible crystals there. Once you've taken them, you'll also do the action that is marked just here, and I'll talk through them in a second. Once the last token has been taken from one of those spots, that is when this marking will happen. These pieces will go in. What you're trying to do is the first one of these, this is the action that we're trying to accomplish. So whoever has the most liveliness, which means whoever has the most of these things on the board, and you can look up on the rules what each of these meant. Whoever has the most would get one of these onto the tower. Then there is also a private objective. So whoever has the most of these placed in there, I'll talk about how to do that in the next video. So say that's what it looks like. Orange will have won that because they've got the most of these. There's 5 different spots it could be. This one's about how many of these are in each triad. We've got 2. The other person has 2, so that one's even at the moment. And liveliness, as we spoke about. So the only person who's actually won at the moment is Orange. So they would take one of their small ones and put it in. If Orange had won that also, so they had a 2nd essence counter, so they've got 3 at the moment, the other has 2, they would, instead of putting that one in, they've won 2 things, so they would put one of the larger ones on. Then what happens is, if there is one of these pieces being pointed at by the empty space, that would also get added in. Once that's happened, this then gets 7 crystals put back onto it, and as crystals are taken off a spot, that gets turned. So as you can see, it's possible to get 8 points worth onto the board in one go. The other player, the blue player, as they didn't actually achieve any of their goals, what they now get to do is they can dismiss one of these, so it's not going to happen. So for example, that one. It's up to them what they think they're least likely to get. They also get to go through the top 3 of these cards to see which one they're most likely to get. So say they might say that one, and then they'll shuffle the rest in, and they know which one's on top. Orange just looks at what their top one is, and these cards get removed from the game entirely. That's how you get points. Now everyone is going to get a chance to do that action once on their turn. So those points are going to go through relatively quickly. The other thing that happens when you take things off one of these spots is here you get to add one of the tokens onto your board, and you can add this anywhere, and it can be any type of token. It might be that one there, for example. On this one, you can spend a crystal, and spending that crystal comes off your board to turn one of your stars over. I call them stars, they're ambition tokens is the actual name for them if you want proper names. This one allows you to add one of the cards to your hand. This one allows you to add one of these to your board. These are called Essen tokens, so you can add one Essen token to your board. This allows you to take 2 more crystals, so you take them from the public supply, and that I believe is all the way around. You'll get to do that no matter if you add pieces to the center or not. Now what a turn actually looks like is everyone has 3 possible moves, or 3 moves they must do. That action I just showed you, which is flipping over the token wherever it stands, and you can do that at any point during the 3 actions. We're marking which of the 3 actions we're up to via this part of the board. If you have things up there flipped over, so in the ambition space, you are able to use them to do one of these actions. If you've got 2 flipped over, you can use both of them to do an extra turn. And once again, you can do them at any time, before, after, in between. And then we have 3 actions. Within those 3 actions, there are 5 available on the main board. There are 5 available on your own board. Now, if you're playing the introductory game, only the top 4 are available. So really quickly, the 5 available actions, and these can be done no matter where your guy is. The placement of your guy is really only dependent on what you're going to do on your main board. So I'll start at the top, over at the Valley of Motives. Up there, blue or gloom has control, which means control tells you if you have to spend the token or not. So that crystal there, if these guys are doing that action, they don't have to spend that crystal. If the orange guys, Bliss, are doing that action, they will have to spend that crystal. They'll then gain another 4 crystals from the supply onto their board. If it was orange doing it, they would spend 1 to gain 4. Which means that if you don't have control of that, and you don't have any crystals at all on your board, so say it looks like that, it's nothing there, they can't do that action because they can't pay the crystal. You must pay before you take the thing. And that will be the case all the way around. The next one is the Cradle of Senses. So once again, pay the crystal to get 1 card from your deck. So if this is the player doing it, they would pay a crystal, take the top card out of their deck, and flip the next one over. They may pay 2 more crystals, 1, 2, to also take that card. Coming around, the Network of Thoughts allows you to take one of your emotions. So if it's blue doing it, it allows him to take one of his emotions from anywhere on the board and place it next to your character. And once again, that will cost the 2 of those crystals. Also noticing that your character here is only responsible for that space. If the character was here, he'd be responsible for those 2 spaces. Okay, moving around, we come to the Land of Desire. What you can do is spend crystal again to add one of these onto one of your emotions, but that emotion must be adjacent to your spirit character. So the character would need to be there for it to be added there. What you can do is then, if you had an emotion out that had 3 spaces, so there were 2 empties, you could then spend another crystal to enable you to add an extra 1. Then over on the far one, the Willow of Values, what that enables you to do is, it's going to cost you a crystal, but you can then change as many crystals as you like. So I've got 4 there at the moment. You can change them each into into essence. So for willpower just go out, 4 essence come in. At the end of each turn, you'll renegotiate each space in terms of who actually has control of a space. So what we have at the moment is these 3 spaces. We'll be talking about this one. So blue is most definitely in control of that. Blue is not in control of that, so that one goes off. Blue is not in control of that, so that would go off. Orange is still in control of that. Orange is still in control of that. Blue is in control of that. And blue is in control of this one as well. So control is looking merely at the intensity values. You'll have cards that come through that allow you to add 1 to the intensity of that card. If you have a token there, whenever you add that token, you would add 1 intensity to that area. So suddenly we've got a 1 and a 1 becomes void. I think that is everything for the basics of the game, of the board. Go on and watch my next video and I'll run through what these 4 actions are. And then the video after that, I'll run through the extra steps for the full game. Or go ahead and jump forward to the Gamesplay and you can see me play the beginning of the game. I will only be playing with this version of the game. I won't play the full game just because I think it's worthwhile having an idea of the starting points before you actually start adding that extra stuff in. If you have any questions or comments, please mark them below. If you have any games that you'd like to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.